Alright, Augie, today's episode will be just a quickie.
Interestingly, the ladies never called me Mr. Quickie.
Because they already call you Little Dicky. By the time you find the needle in the haystack, the laughter has subsided and they already hit menopause.
I told you that in confidence.
We're not friends. Let's assume you scrooged yourself again when it came to cameras. You bought an old model that has 60 frames only in 8-bit, or you're planning on buying a camera that only has 60 frames in 8-bit, or your PC or software is older and can't read 10-bit files. It's all understandable wanting to save money for your liquor enthusiasm. Child support payments can be done next year. And let's face it, any filmmaker who tells you they're making a profit with narrative work is a shameless liar, so the financial investment excuse is total copium. Therefore, you get the idea into your head that 8-bit 60 frames will cut the mustard. After all, it has the same 150 megabits per second as the 10-bit 30 frame files. Of course, gear elitists will tell you that is a pipe dream, but are they actually correct? But we're here to sell you on 60 frames, don't you forget that. And right now, 60 frames doesn't look that bad at all. As a matter of fact, unless you pixel peep, you won't see any difference. But let's do pixel peep. Well, you see that the sharpness and color is basically the same in natural mode. Looking at the shadows and darker areas, there's a tad more grain in the 8-bit 60 frames, but not by much. Not bad at all. The only people who would see that as a deal breaker are compulsive nerds with mental defects. 99% of viewers will not give a rat's bottom, but one might give a hippo's bottom if one has to color grade stuff. So let's see how things are when I record in Vlog and color grade it. Things in the shadows and darker areas definitely are grainier now. Not just grainy, but banding and artifacts. Now for 99% of viewers it would be no deal breaker. However, let's assume you're the kind of filmmaker who's starved for affection and validation from other filmmakers with substandard personalities. How are you going to impress those neurotic, inconsequential folks to feed your irrational insecurities and narcissistic tendencies? With those artifacts, you wouldn't. So when we look then at the 10-bit footage, we can see less banding and less artifacts. Finally, you may be still able to nut hug your peers. Plus imagine these spec sheet geeks you can impress with videos of brick walls. Granted, there's still some artifacts and noise, but that is very much a Vlog thing. I would recommend, when shooting indoors, to just go with a different color mode, which you only have to minimally grade. But let's show both versions to drill the point home. 8-bit 60 frames on Vlog has more banding, artifacts and noise. Doesn't change having 150 megabits per second in this case. If that matters to you, do not shoot in Vlog indoors. Not even in 10-bit, since the footage in natural mode still looks much cleaner than on Vlog. So, what is Vlog good for in 8-bit? For outdoorsy stuff, my cheap friend. And what do my eyes perceive when looking at the shadows and darker areas of the 8-bit footage? No noise, banding or artifacts. When shooting in natural lighting, log is as vital as censorship laws are to corrupt technocrats. When looking at a 10-bit version all by itself, there doesn't seem to be any noticeable differences. By the way, when you upload stuff on YouTube, it's basically all 8-bit anyways. So does it even matter? In a way, yes, when you get to see the two images shown next to each other. The main difference is the color information in the skin tones. You will notice that the leaves in the 10-bit file has more reflection. This is due to the increased adjustment of the variable ND filter, since 30 frames has more brighter exposure than 60 frames. Not that it makes a difference on Augie's downtrodden face. I can only tell the story of businesses cutting his homemade credit cards, or that the local hospital spread out flyers all over town with a picture of his face saying, "Do not resuscitate." Alright, Augie, this concludes the episode. How are you going to spend the rest of your holidays?
I will head to the shopping center to go diving for quarters at a mall fountain. I want to buy a present for that social worker that I like.
Simping, eh? The desperate resort of hideous men.
She usually likes to date shoplifters and alcoholics with face tattoos, but maybe I have a chance.
I don't think so. Everybody knows that those socialist types have clear standards.